everybody. I'm Tommy, and you are on the lifeboat. What's happening around here? Millie the Dandelion, good to see you. Dee Dee Razzle Dazzle, how are you? Dale Cox, there you are. Good to see you. Be right back, he says. We'll see if he really comes back. They say that a lot. They don't always pop back up. Yeah, good to see you. Shannon Smith, how you been? DeAudrey Gore, always a pleasure. That's a cool photo. Which one are we talking about? What photo is a good photo? You talking about the thumbnail? I'm not sure which one we're talking about, but that's all right. Yarn Prepper. Yeah, good morning, everybody, right? Running a little late, and I'll tell you why. Spanx Calhoun was working on a story. He's got something that he's kind of hot on. I'm fired up. I actually like watching him do this. Oh, I knew there was a problem. It's about 7,000 degrees in here. Oh, thank God. It was the fan not going. I must have turned it off. I was outside a moment ago, moving my bike because Quibble's going to be backing out, and I didn't want the bike behind it. And it's hot. It's one of those days that just starting that thing can really be a problem. Jane, good to see you. Glad that you're here. Let's see. Who do we got? Might have got all of you. Small crew today. That's all right. I like it when it's a small crew. Gives us something we can talk, right? We'll talk about stuff that no one else can hear. Shelly Kelly, good to see you. We'll do the real secretive crap. Lynn Sanity, how you been? Layla. Although, you know what? Usually right around the time Layla shows up, I don't know what it is. Maybe they follow her, but right around the time that Layla shows up, the fences usually come down and the crowd start stomping their way to the front of the stage. Anna, how are you? RSM, good to see you. Big Z, 1979. You know what? I haven't seen you in a hot minute. How are you? Huh? I hope you're doing well. Scooby, good to see you. Dale Cox says, Tommy, how are you today? Oh, I don't know. I'm as good as can be expected. There you go. About as best you can hope for, right? I'm about as good as can be expected. Caroline in Canada, good to see you. Nicola E, how are you? You've managed to catch up on sleep and aren't quite as grumpy today. Well, that's something worth doing, huh? I'm not doing as well on sleep as I'd like to. It's kind of an issue for me recently. Jason P, good to see you. Pajama Pixie, how are ya? Kim Roy, there you are. Glad you're here. Lumen, present prayers and love for friends and fam in Florida. It's just too much, and I'm sorry. Thank you, Lumen. You know what? We've got a lot of friends that are currently braving this storm, and it's coming, and it's coming hard. And they're talking about, I think they're either saying where, like Lisa Trimble's in the line of fire. They're going to probably have to evacuate her. And if you know Lisa's situation, she has the man that lives in her house with her. He's very difficult to move. It's not that you can't move him, but it is a challenge. This man really has a hard time getting up and about. It always scares me, man. That stuff always bums me out. Brianna, you're not that late, actually. Brianna Miller, we've only been doing this about 3 minutes. Nat B from Canada, good to see you. So you're really not late at all. STFU Darcy, good to see you. Naomi Hills, you're happy I'm back in Bug Tussle? Yeah. You know what? It's a beautiful town. It really is. It's a beautiful town. And it runs at a speed that is just so much different, than big cities. I love it. I love Bug Tussle. I really do. I like it. Justin Ski, good to see you. Pam Fredette, how are you? Let's see. Candy's Life, how are you? Matrix Rabbit, Goosebump 801. Good to see you. I don't think I'm missing anybody, am I? I gotta be. It's only 5 minutes in. I'm sorry, but if I'm getting it done in 5 minutes, we're doing something wrong. Tony's Hooter, there you are. Am I sleeping well? Let's see. Last night? No, I didn't sleep well last night at all. Hit or miss, I guess. Hit or miss. Hit or miss. I seem more chipper this morning. Well, that's nice, isn't it? I'm trying to be. I'm doing the live as if thing. I'm really trying very hard to live as if. Matrix Rabbit says sleep is sucking here. I'm sorry to hear that. As I've said so many times in the past, Casey, good to see you. After 13 years in prison, I'm damaged goods. Right? If my brain was perfect and nothing was wrong with it, 13 years in prison, you don't walk out the same way that you walked in. And if you spend the entire time that you're in there working on making yourself a better person, like if you literally spend every waking minute in there trying to concentrate on becoming a better person or making yourself into, something other than what you currently are, you're still going to be in prison, right? I mean, you can certainly surround yourself with very positive people. Your car can be a bunch of guys that really want to get in shape or really studying this or that and actually hitting books and getting into it. Nevertheless, all of the people around you are going to be convicts, and they're going to be talking like convicts, and there's going to be convict business and all of this crap that goes on, and it leaves an indelible mark, and that's such a bummer, right? But anything that you endure that is that traumatic on you, right, leaves an indelible mark, and I've got a good one. Sadly, I have a very, very deep mark. We got some prayers for Shannon Smith. She's evacuating and is terrified. I would imagine a lot of people are. AKA Pajama Pixie says, great timing, taking a break from wedding preps. All right. Giant Jenga isn't going to stain itself. Oh, Lord, you're making a giant Jenga. Boy, oh boy, Pajama Pixie, you're going the extra mile. Honestly, that's some beautiful stuff right there. I hope everyone in Milton's path stays safe. I do too. Liz Tricks, good to see ya. Good to see ya. Millie, you are such a kind person. Thank you, Matrix. Nicholas says, I had the best part of a month on the road in an unseated van with a broken door mechanism in less severe weather than Florida, at least. Wow. Sounded like that's a fun road trip. Better part of a month? Ouch, kabibble. That could be a hell of a road trip. I don't know that I'd want to do that. Are you guys fans of road trips? You like getting in a car and just driving? I did a lot of it when I was a kid. I really did. I did a bunch of it, legal and otherwise. I ran some illegal stuff that way. But I also did a lot of them. It was just a thing. I think, we didn't have the ability to link the whole world up. So if you wanted to see somebody, sometimes you actually had to go, 6 or 7 hours in one direction to go, to go find them. It was unheated. Yeah. Obviously unheated. Jane Aldridge says, love to all the crew, even if I don't get you all by name. And you know what? Everybody should go with that battle cry. This is an early morning show, so we get less people. But, you get 100 people, gets a little tough to say hi to everybody. But we know that everyone would like to. Debbie P., good to see you. Glad that you're here. So I think you're all right on that one, Jane. I really do. I don't think anyone's going to bust your chops about this. I promise. So as I was saying, Arwa, good to see you. It gives me a warm heart knowing that you and Reese are together and able to support each other in everything you are both going through. You know what, Naomi? You're giving me credit that you probably shouldn't. Sadly. We're trying. We care an awful lot about one another. But as I said, I've sustained a bunch of damage. And we grew up in two really horrifically different worlds, right? So two people that care more about each other than they can articulate have the ability to look at life, look at the exact same picture and see it through such different eyes that, and I'll take all the heat on this. I'll say that it's probably because of what I witnessed and how I lived that has skewed how I look at things. And I'll be the first to admit this. And And there are things that I'm probably never going to get over. And that's sad. It really is. But when you take people from as diverse backgrounds as we are, I'd rather jump in front of a bus than hurt her. I really would. And the idea was to never, ever try to say anything that would ever hurt the other. And I think we're really trying to stick to that. And if this doesn't work out, right? And we've always said this right from the beginning. If this doesn't work out, I hope that people will be respectful of that, right? And if you decide not to, well, then blame me. But I really would hope that everybody could rise to the occasion and maybe act like human beings, because we're not trying to hate each other. We're really not. It's just that unfortunately, we're not able to make it work, and that happens. And it was a risk from the beginning, and it was a suck risk from the beginning. It was one of those. It was one of those things. And I don't like saying this. This isn't a whole hell of a lot of fun to say, but people are asking questions that will require me lying if I answer them any other way. We don't. I honestly, I lop off a finger to do anything to help her be more successful or more happy. You know, I really would. It's just that it's so hard that. Pajama Pixie says, I too am working hard to change my story. And you know what? So is Quibs. Really hard to change, the first 38 years of her life. She's turning into something completely new, and it's amazing, and it's blossoming. It's got to be exciting as hell. And I've been doing this since I was 46. Prior to that, there wasn't a lot of growth, right, of any kind. There really wasn't. And I've had problems with my health, and a lot of stuff that Quibs has had to put up with. Has done that with style. She really has. And we endured a lot of shit. No other way to say it. We went through some heavy stuff when all that was going down with her ex, and being out there in that situation. There's just no way to do justice to the pressure cooker that this girl and I have been in. Basically from the time that we became friends. It's been really, really hard. And I think that sadly we have come to, we are all damaged, Matrix Rabbit. There's no doubt we are all damaged. I find the name Bug Tussle amusing. Then I remember I come from a country with a town called, what is that? Hadazal? That's funny. The Bug Tussle is a fictitious town from a show called The Beverly Hillbillies. Granny, the matriarch of the family, hails from Bug Tussle. So what I was saying is we're going to part ways romantically, and I don't know that anybody's happy about that, and I don't know how often that happens. Honestly, I think usually when something like this happens, there's probably somebody that's excited about it. And I don't think that either of us are happy about this at all, which is a bummer. Helena says 2:40 a.m. here. I guess you can see how sleep is going. I'm sorry. It's so bad when you can't sleep. And Kiki Cookerson says, my dear husband can't sleep well either. Ex-military. Oh, no. God bless him. Thank him for his service, please. Ex-military guys really struggle. And the word flashback gets thrown around a lot, but really they're reliving whatever you want to call it, or some people hate that term. Any way you shake it, they didn't leave everything on the battlefield, right? And they never do. It sounds good, but when something happens to you that's traumatic, right? Whatever it is, whether it's something that's going to, if it's life altering or if it's not, but something really traumatic happens to you, it leaves a permanent mark on you forever. And you might wake up, you might hear somebody say something, you might hear a sound. There are things in my life like that. There are things I guarantee you in everybody's life like that. And you know what? Throw in the whole convict thing. There's a whole series of words you can't say around a convict, right? It'll be a fist fight. Is that smart? No, it's stupid. It's stupid. It's Cro-Magnon stuff. It's not even like we're not evolved enough to be men kind of thing. But you know what? That's how we lived for a really long time. That doesn't probably make you great boyfriend material. And I don't mean that you're in danger of hitting somebody, because it's never anything like that. It's just that, we speak two completely different languages, and we try really hard to make each other understand the two different languages. And sometimes you get to places in the road where, because of how one person is brought up versus the other, you can look at the same thing and think something so polar opposite that it's just very hard to get through or to get by. And you know what? I would say it's probably my fault, and I apologize. I wish it wasn't the way it is. I really do. I wish it wasn't the way it is. I wish that the things that we had a couple of circumstances that happened that maybe if they hadn't happened, who knows? But they did. And I got nothing bad to say about her. I say if you groove to that kind of stuff and you're hoping I'm gonna say some trash, you're definitely on the wrong YouTube channel. I have nothing but love for her, and I have no intention of saying anything other than that. And you know what? I feel like I gave you a hell of a lot about what happened, and I promise you, personally, I don't intend to go in any more detail than that. I do feel like I owe the audience a glimpse, right? But I don't have to let you come in and hang out for 2 weeks. But I'm being funny. But you guys have been very vested in all of this, and I don't enjoy doing this shit at all. But if you get a message that says, I'm so glad you're in Bug Tussle, and you get another one that says, you know what, I'm so glad you two are together, and you start going, you know what, if I keep letting these go by, I'm going to start feeling like I'm a jerk off or whatever, but trust me when I tell you, I'm not taking any joy in this. School's out for fall break, says Rick Smith. There goes all my time. Yeah, you got people to hang out with now, do you? Got all kinds of fun stuff you can do. I hope that you get some sleep, Helena. That's terrible. You know what? I haven't, that's another thing. When things start going bad, you need sleep, and proper nutrition and all of that. And I'll be really honest, I've not, the traveling causes me to kind of get off of that rhythm. And you get to a point where you feel like all of a sudden, for whatever reason, you're just not hungry. And that happens to me quite often. Reese did everything she could to feed me. I just was not, and I wish I don't know. It's so hard for me to eat if I am not hungry. It's like forcing food into you when you don't want it is just not a fun procedure, in my opinion. STFU Darcy says, I was considering asking a friend for Adderall just to fix me for the day. On the sites where people talk about drugs in forums, they'll usually say the word swim in front of everything. And it's just to cover your ass from a legal standpoint. And what it means is someone who isn't me. So you would have said, someone who isn't me is considering asking a friend for a little Adderall just to help that person for the day. I don't worry about it. I don't care how you word anything, but just know that, some people that read this may not have the best of intentions. And if you don't think that there are weirdos who troll this way, Google sometime the number of arrests that have been made because cops went on Facebook, right? And these guys are on Facebook, 20 of them like this, right? They're all standing. They got guns. They're posing. They took those things, blew them up, enhanced them, blew them up, literally started pulling serial numbers off of these things, right? Couldn't get them off of all of them, but it didn't really matter because the first two they ran were hot. So they went and kicked the door in. Shocker, there was a whole cache of bang bangs in there. How did you find us? You guys are great detectives because you geniuses put it on the internet. It blows me away. the way people tell on themselves these days. It literally blows me away. I've seen some really that's one of my favorites is when you see they do a Facebook or an Instagram post and they're holding 2 kilos and there's a pile of cash on the table and weapons. It's like, boy, oh boy, you should put a hand grenade up there. You know what I mean? There's got to be at least one charge you haven't racked up in one photo. And again, you swear to you, if you've done time, you know what I'm talking about. But that person will get to jail and they'll go, man, I got ratted on. I guarantee you I got ratted on. It's like, dude, you have a Facebook page dedicated to the fact that you're a drug dealer. You think somebody might have ratted on you? A little personal, accepting a little personal responsibility. Probably not a bad idea in that situation, right? Kim Roy says, I love road trips. I'm getting ready to take one. You don't drive but like being driven? Well, there you go. You can't do road trips much. You tend to fall asleep from the motion of the car. Oh, yeah. If you fall asleep from the motion of the car, you're a terrible road trip partner, and I don't think I'd want you with me. I just don't think I'd want you with me. You know what? This is going to be a very small truck. I don't need a very large one. So this isn't going to be, I think when we were moving down here at Quibs, I don't remember the exact length of that truck, but it was big. My memory was it was big. And they're kind of hard to get around. And, everything's a pain in the ass. If you're trying to go through a drive-through, if you're trying to park the thing, any of those things become really, really difficult. I'm fairly confident I can rent the 10-footer. I don't really need much. I'm just not trying to create more BS for everybody here. So I'm going to get anything out of here that needs to get out of here before I go. You drove Miami to Tampa to visit Tampa B after the cruise. Well, that must have been fantastic because Tampa B's a pisser. She is a really, really fun person. I dig her. She's one of my favorite people. Always has been, always will be. She's just an awful lot of fun. Glad you got a chance to kick it with her. Kathy Ann says, sorry I missed last night. Oh, don't be. That happens, right? Everyone's got lives. And I am going to be in the background this AM. Sleep regression now in the house, and congestion are making us grab rest whenever possible. Hit the like button, subscribe. Okay, thank you, Kathy Ann. Now go ahead and you've done your part. Try to get some sleep. Thank you. Really appreciate you for all you do. I mean that. Thanks so much. John Pixie says, for my daughter's wedding, I'm doing a bunch of games, doing all the flowers, dried table numbers. Nice. It's a lot, but fun and keeping all in my thoughts. Is there a little side action on this? Don't lie to me. Can a guy place a little side action that where the chips aren't plastic? You got to have at least one groupie, what do they call them? Croupier, what do they call those guys? Got to have one that's taking real money, right? No more bets. Wait, you got real cash? 50 on black. No, little casino night. You know why I hate casino nights? No joke. Because if I play in a casino night, I kill it. You always end up with the best. Like you've never played this good. You start out with like $10,000 of hypothetical money and you're sitting on like 250 grand in hypothetical money going. So if I had started with real money, yeah, I don't want to gamble for fake money. That's just bad juju. That is bad juju any way you shake it. That's my humble opinion. Humble or otherwise, that's my opinion, and I'm sticking to it. That's my story. Hello, Sharon McCarthy. Thank you very much. Love having people from Canada. I really do. Love having you. And you know what? Like I say, I hate days like this. I really do. But let's knock something out, because we as Americans have a really weird habit where sometimes people will decide to go their separate ways, and people will then like to come up and say to you, "Oh, you guys are done." Man, I never liked her. Let me tell you 3 things I didn't like about her. I'll still crush your freaking larynx. All right, it's never going to happen here. I promise. I'll block your ass so fast, and then if there's any chance of me running into you in public, I'll do it. I don't dislike this woman, right? So we're always going to be respectful at all times, but certainly in this case. You will, as you do so often, make me proud. Hi, Mom. Renee B, good to see you. Want to jump in and say hello? Well, I love it when you do that. Incarnasol, Freebird. What's happening, Freebird? I don't have a cigarette lighter. Every time I see Freebird, I just want to fire that thing up. Freebird. Tribe Called Duff, good to see you. Hey, Nat. Relationships, even in the best of circumstances, are tough. Grace and gratitude for all in any event. Love you both. Well, thank you, Pajama Pixie. That's a very kind thing to say. It really is. It's a very kind thing to say. And it's, you know, in a perfect and mature world, there's never any blame to dole out, right? It's just one of those things. If there's any, I'll take it. For real. This was definitely a me issue. And I'm sorry to say that, but this one's on me. But it is what it is. I apologize, but it definitely is what it is. Thank you, Millie. And I believe that. You know, Millie says, I will absolutely support the both of you. And do you know what? I respect that, people. We don't want anybody picking sides. We don't. Now, there are times in my life, if you happen to be going to a channel of someone that absolutely hates me and says horrible things about me, we're not going to say any of these people's names because you know who they are. And honestly, I've learned a lot about some of these people, and I no longer take any enjoyment, even subtly taking jabs at these people. You've probably heard about this. It's not cool, and I'm not going to joke about it. We're not going to do it here. But one of these people in particular got a real tough start in life, right? And not the kind that I'm going to crack jokes about, but in terms of his family tree, all right, I'm not trying to, right, but the number of branches that come off of that family tree. This gentleman is actually inbred, and that's a horrific thing, and not something that we want to, celebrate or make light of. They might clown on us for anything, but that's certainly not something I'm going to take any joy in. And it does also explain that this isn't a dude firing on all cylinders. So maybe, we give him a little bit more latitude. But regardless, yeah, I was never stoked when people would go onto a channel of someone like that and then say to me, I can be fans of both of yours. Well, it's really no difference, right? We cannot. Well, yeah, but one dude literally just spews so much hate. Every other word out of the dude's mouth is F, right? He talks about how he hopes people die. And if you can groove to that content, how can you possibly like me, right? That doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, you can do whatever you want. I'll take the view, right? It just, that kind of boggles my mind when I hear that. When people say, yeah, I can compartmentalize. Yeah, okay. But if you can't be respectful, go somewhere else until you find that respect. That's a cool way to put it. My life is mine to live as hers is hers, truthfully. Thanks, Lumen. Lumen says we all hurt people sometimes, Tommy, not just ex-crims. You're not alone. I know I'm not. Alone. I wish, I wish that all of this could be done over. Because I'm quite sure I could have done a much better job. And I don't know that the ending would have been any different. I think that there's some fundamental stuff in there but I think if we had done it differently, we might have found that out a little earlier, and that might have been easier on all parties. But again, there isn't any finger pointing. If I were to point any fingers, I would probably point them at me. And that's all I have to say about that. Thank you, Naomi says, if it doesn't work out, you have both done a lot for each other. You helped her get out of a nightmare. We can see the love that you have for each other. Well, thank you, Naomi. What a lovely thing to say. I really appreciate that. And, I'd like to believe that it would always be that way. I really do. Although, you know what? We've seen it, and I don't mean with her, but we talk about relationships all day long here. And I've talked about this. I can't tell you how many times I've talked about this on the boat. I'm blown away by people, men or male or female, it doesn't matter. But those people who on Monday, right? On Monday, nothing on earth could separate these people, right? I mean, love, like it, almost obsessive. They're so close. And 48 hours later, one of them will say, I hate her or I hate him. I hate that person. And you go, what? Like, how did that happen? Right? How does that happen that fast? But it does. I mean, that happened. I've told the story on here before with my ex, you know, she came up to visit me and said, please don't leave me. I know that you're going to be in here, but we got to keep this together. 3 days later, she was living with another dude. It's amazing how fast those, things change. But that was a really good situation. I dodged a bullet by not being with her longer. It's, yeah. Thoughts and prayers again, people, for anybody that are facing this storm. This thing's no joke, right? We're talking about, I think they're talking about category 3 and 4. That's serious wind, man. That's serious wind. Usually brings a pretty ugly storm surge. I'm already having an emotional day and you're making me cry, Tommy. Oh, I'm sorry, Flick Fox. Very sweet words. And I just love the rawness of what you say. Well, thank you. You know what? I really appreciate that you say that, because there's just no good way to say this. Like, I don't, you know what I mean? It's not something, I have a feeling she'll do better than I did, but this is about as good as I could. This is about as good as I could do. And I think that these kind of things should be shared. I think me going into details of exactly what happened is, it's not something I'm comfortable doing, and it's not something I'm ever going to do. Right? I'm not. And I've tried to make a point of not ever talking poorly about content creators. I try to really never talk about content creators on the lifeboat. I love Reese Quibell, and I always will. So I certainly am not going to trash her here or let anyone else trash her here. And I'll go a step further and say, I know some of you may not have loved. Don't take a victory lap or say something stupid, or I will never see you again. I'm sorry. It's just the only way I can say that. Not everybody loved her, and you have that. You can all have that right. And you know what? I think I was kind of a gentleman, because in my old days, I just would have booted everybody. And it's funny because she was the one that said, you can't do that. But I just hope everybody, we're all going to act adults. I don't worry about anybody here. It's the ones that aren't here, man. Thank you, Lumen. I appreciate that. Marissa, what a beautiful thing to say. Thank you. That's a kind thing for you to say. I'd like to believe that's the truth. When things, when things come to an end, you don't always necessarily look at things the same way. I'm glad I was there at that time. I really am. She didn't blow anything out of proportion. She didn't. He's a dick. He certainly was at the time. I don't know. I can't, make judgments about the dude now. I don't know what he's doing, but he didn't treat her well. And it was really difficult to hear him talk, to her that way. And Scientologists have very, very thick skin, right? Second gens, she talks about it all the time. How much time did she spend on the can with them saying things like, do you ever have sex with an animal? Right? Like, so obviously they feel very almost bulletproof. You understand? Like they're tough as hell. And I'd rather be in a fist fight. I really would. Like, that kind of tough to me seems a whole lot easier than the kind of tough that it requires to tackle those kind of issues, especially, watching someone's marriage come apart. I remember saying to her, I know the dude's a dick. The guy's a dick. But at one point you stood there and said, this was your hopes and your dreams. And I think we tend to forget that as people. Again, it's like that switch that people throw when all of a sudden they no longer like a person. And, my exes, I'm not fond of either of them. The one that gave birth to my kids, I would say I like her more than the others, but I don't hate them. I really don't. I don't hate them. I don't want anything bad to happen to them or anything like that. It would be, it's like the concept alone just bums me out. Yeah, I don't want to BS you, Lumen. And you know something? Here's the deal. You sit in this chair long enough, I've absolutely done it. Right. And I mean, just that kind of BS where I'll come in here and something will be grinding my gears. I'll be having a really bad time. But if I start to talk about it, I'm liable to melt down. And I've come here and said, nah, no big deal. Just one of those days. And I never feel good when it's over. I really don't. I always feel kind of crappy about it. So these days, I'm going to show up and I'm going to do what I'm going to do. You know what, Maurice, it felt like a dangerous situation. It really did. I guess we'll never know, but it sure felt that way to me. Again, she wasn't exaggerating. He was loud and he was kind of in your face and well, in her face, right? This is a guy that I don't think would do that to too many men. I don't. I think he's the kind of coward that feels very tough when he's towering over a woman. But I don't think he'd be real stoked if a guy came at him and said, "Yeah, why don't you do that with me?" I think he'd probably get out of Dodge. Trainee Human. That name probably means a lot less to you guys than it does to me, but I love Trainee Human. I really do. A success story here on the Lifeboat, and a success story that took the time to write to me. Not everybody does. A lot of people write to me when they say, I'm really hurting, or I'm struggling with this. I got a couple of questions about journaling. I remember the first time that I talked to Trainee Human, he was like, oh, I'm sober, right? Like I'm doing it. And I love it, man. I really do. I love seeing people that have a lot of sobriety under their belt. It's not as much fun as seeing somebody come in here and say, I didn't drink today, or I didn't, get high today. It's the first day I've ever done without. That to me, man, those first like 72 hours to 1 week, that's a drug, people. I hate to admit it, but it is. It's my drug of choice. I love hearing people say, you know what? I haven't used in 2 days. I found the boat and I got motivated. I'm like, yes. And I'm telling you, that buzz can last me weeks. For real. Of course, I do this a lot, so try to keep that buzz going. Nicholas says, I can feel this pain. Today is the birthday of the love of mine who passed at Raw. I'm not sure what that is, but we parted romantically 5 years before he passed, and he was my best friend again until the end. I'm thinking that might be a nightclub, was it? AMRA or AMRA? Was that either that or it's an abbreviation that I should know so much that I'm an idiot? What the hell? Mystery is so real. T-Frog, not sure what we're talking about. Which mystery are we talking about? I don't know. Let me know. I want in on the mystery. I'll tell you what. I can't say enough great things. If you're honestly thinking about going to Nevada, Nevada's a great state, man. I loved living there. I really did. I really did. It was and I prefer the heat. I've just gotten to that age, but I could live in Nevada forever, man. I love the people there. Their attitude was great. I really dig it. Your favorite background for me needs a cat in a basket. Well, I will be back with the cat in a basket soon, and I'm gonna get emails. I know as soon as this is over. Am I taking Moose? That's not a decision that is up to me to make. Right? I'm not stealing a cat. I'm not that guy. If they're concerned about him continuing to to attack other cats, I will very happily take Moose and give him a fantastic home. So that would be cool, but we'll see. It's not, I hope so. He bonded with me and he's a really cool guy, but whatever is going to work for them, I'm down for that. I do need a cat in a basket, man. You will see a lot more of the cat in the basket. It's coming. In fact, if all goes well, I plan on having dual baskets. I'm going to have one on one side for Squirrel Nut Zipper, and I'm going to have one on the other side for Chunky. He's gotten very big. You would not believe how thick he's gotten. I mean it. He's now getting to be a beefy cat. If I leave here tomorrow, sorry, would you still remember me? Scotland, you say? Well, you're in good company, my friend. We have tons of people from Scotland, don't you know? Lots of them, right? I love people from Scotland. I love listening to you talk when everything is a question, isn't it? Everything kind of ends with that, doesn't it? Like the end of everything has that little inflection that goes up, and it's always kind of put to you in a question. Okay? Well, you wouldn't do something like that, would he? It's always cracks me up. I love it. I wish we did that. We probably don't do it because we're not quite as sharp. It's my theory. Well, trainee human, you're awesome too, and I hope that you listen long enough to catch that if he's restarting at the beginning. Big fan of yours, man. I really am, and I'm proud of you. Smells can be a bad trigger to a traumatic event. I believe that, but learning to cope with therapy has also helped. I absolutely believe what you're saying, though. I remember periods of times in my life. One, it's just as silly as hell, right? But we used to go to Bermuda every year, and I was a degenerate. Even when I was like 15, I was a degenerate. I was smoking pot. I was acting stupid. And I had a girlfriend, and she was just cute as a button and young, and I was young. But I wanted to get her something to bring back from Bermuda. However, the money that I brought, I could drink at a bar legally at 15. They just didn't care, right? There's no drinking age there at all. So needless to say, I made an ass of myself, and ended up getting sort of cantankerously, what's the word I'm looking for? Cantankerously buzzed. But the soundtrack from that day, right? The things that came on the radio, and I won't tell you everything that happened because it'll glorify the crap out of a bunch of different drugs. It's not a story we need to tell on here, but we did a bunch of different chemicals, and when I hear that song come on, right? I hear that song come on, and I am right back in the same spot. Or if I smell a perfume called Bermuda Jasmine, it was the only thing I could afford because I had spent all of my money on alcohol and drugs. All I could afford was a dram, those itty bitty little, and I bought it for her and I gave it to her, and she said, I love it. I love the smell of it. She sort of gave me the, damn, it might have been nice if this was a little bigger kind of a look, but she said, this smells fantastic. And I'll bet you I went maybe 20 years, 25 years without ever smelling it again. And I was in an elevator, and a woman walked in, and I said, I was standing close to the deal, and I said, can I get a floor for you? And either she didn't hear me or she just wants to do things herself. But she leaned in to hit a button, and that smell, it was like, you know what I mean? Just smacked me in the face. And it wasn't even I've smelled that before. Where have I smelled that? I mean, I went Bermuda Jasmine. And she was like, yeah, how do you know that? I'm like, because it's the only perfume I know. And you happen to be wearing it. Incarnasol, maybe not something that works for now, but being closely supportive of each other is a fantastic decision for the present. Truthfully, she needs some time on her own to find herself. I think that probably would be a good thing. And I am going to, at this point, ask you guys a big favor, right? And I'm going to say, I love you. And I love the sentiments. I do, right? But we're not going to hash this out, right? I'm not, right? I guess she can do whatever she wants. I'm not going to hash this out. I'm not going to talk about the private stuff like that. I'm not. So it's hard to answer questions to things like that. For all you know, right? I said stuff that was so horrific, it could never, ever, no one could come back from that, right? You don't know. And if that's the case, then maybe that wouldn't be in her best interest. Did I do that? No, I don't think that I said anything like that. But you don't know, right? So I think a great one is to just say, you know what? It would be great if maybe someday down the road, something good happens for the both of you, whether that's together or separate or whatever, I said this once, and I remember really being rocked by it because I had never felt this way before in my life. But I said, if I'm not the best match for her, then I really hope that she finds the one that is, right? And I would step out of the way. I would never want to be a person that hinders her from finding the real happiness. And I guarantee you I'm doing that now, right? And that's I don't have to get into, way more than that, but that's about it. There it is. Lumen, I love you too. I really do. Why, thank you, Naomi. And here's the thing. There's going to be a lot of that, no faults, no faults. Well, it doesn't always work that way. It sounds nice. Right? But if you heard the whole story, I think you might come down on the side that this might be me, might be my fault. Right? There's just there's certain things, and this isn't it. But you want to hear a perfect example? I don't know how long I'm gonna be a guy, right? That if a dude calls me a PUNKBITCH, I'm probably gonna swing at him because it's after 13 years of living like that. And knowing that if you don't do something about it, you're going to be in deep trouble by the fellas. And quickly, you just tend to, it becomes so ingrained that usually you're pulling the trigger before you even think about what you're doing. Because if you don't, there's somebody getting ready to hit you. Now, you get out into the real world and people throw that around like it's just a nickname. What up, bitch? And you go, oh, dude, don't do that. Like, you're going to say that to the wrong dude, right? It's just not something that you ought to throw out, right? Thank you, Tribe Called Duff. The no, healing doesn't come fast, to be sure. I don't feel like a jerk, Naomi. You didn't do anything wrong. I never should use somebody as an example, and it wasn't even really the perfect example. But what I wanted to do was, because I know a lot of people, here's the thing, someone will pull for it and they'll go, boy, you know what? I really hope the two of you get back. Well, what if I'm a dick? Then maybe you don't want her to get back with me, right? What if my brain damage turns me into an ass? Then maybe, and again, I don't know that that's the issue on this. It usually is one of those situations where most people think that they're probably right. Isn't that usually how it goes in most? What I will say is this, even if I'm right, and you paraded the issues out in front of 200 people and they voted 180 to 20 that I'm right, it doesn't make a shit bit of difference in my life. It's not going to make me feel better, right? It's not. Sadly, it is what it is. Did you ever see the movie Best in Show? Some people have two left feet, right? He had two left feet. Literally had two left feet. What if it's nobody's fault? Sometimes it just can't work. You're both two beautiful human beings. Beautiful. Give yourself and the situation grace and love. I love that sentiment, right? I really do. I love that sentiment. Then I know it's my own damn fault. You know that song by Buffett? Nibbling on a sponge cake, watching the sun bake. He starts out that song, and in the first verse, he says, I know it's nobody's fault, right? And then he keeps drinking. And in Vino Veritas, right? And Wine There's Truth starts kicking in a little bit. And he gets to that second verse, and he goes, and I think, hell, it could be my fault, I guess. About that six pack, you start thinking, well, it could be. And by the last verse, he's going, yeah, it's my own damn fault. Right? There's that progression through the song, and maybe it's an age thing, but I think I'm at an age in life now where I have a handle on the things that are wrong with me, and the only person that I probably wouldn't really freak out probably wouldn't be somebody that I would want to to date. No disrespect, but I think two former inmates dating would really be tough. No one would let either of us live anywhere, work anywhere. It'd be really hard. But ex-cons would have a very good idea of the things that I talk about without having to talk about it. Sassy Dad Conroe said, had a morning coffee with Natalie and the Good Father. Well, good. I hope you had a good time. Yes, one's for the lovely Reese. I think that's a great idea. Thank you, Nat B. Appreciate you. Tammy Shelton, that's not my decision to make. Would I? In a heartbeat. In a heartbeat. Already have it completely set up. In fact, I have several Scovilles trying to fight already for that cat. I'll be really honest. If I take him, I would want to take him for me. I have no fear at all of him and Squirrel Nut. I just don't. Squirrel really, really fast. She's really, really athletic, and I think that the two of them would just chase each other around. I think they'd have a lot of fun. But if that turned out not to be the case, then I literally have two other Scovilles that are saying, "I'll take it. I want it." Lumen says, "I have a rough time adjusting to travel myself." I got up a couple of times when I first got here and couldn't remember which house I was in, but that's kind of natural. I don't think there's anything really weird about that. But it definitely happens to me here. And maybe it's an age thing because I don't remember this happening very often when I was a kid. And there were times where I would split my time between a couple of different places, but it's kind of unique. Brianna says, "Why are you there? Did you want me to leave?" Honestly, and I feel messed up because I really don't want to have all of this conversation, and I feel like I'm doing this, so I'm not gonna answer that if it's all right. And I don't mean any disrespect, but I think the statement I made, has been pretty solid, and I don't really feel like I need to say a lot more than that if that's cool with you. And I think it's a fine line. I don't want ever to have our audience be in the dark. I really don't. However, if I'm saying things that it could possibly upset Reese, I don't want to do that. I can't tell you how much that's a big thing for me. It's a really big thing for me. We're YouTubers, right? And that's by accident. I could say something that's gonna do damage, so I'm gonna skip talking about it and leave it just where I left it. And that I don't know that there's two people that on the earth that want this to work more than the two of us. And it's just, sometimes that doesn't happen. And I wish that were not the case. I really do. Great photo for the thumbnail. You like that? Well, all right. Well, thank you, Jane. What a kind thing to say. I think that I think everybody would like. Well, most of you. I'm not gonna. We won't BS any of you. There's a lot of you that don't like me, and you know what? There's plenty of that don't like Reese. You guys have. I wouldn't say all of you've been slick, right? There's definitely a contingent that likes us to know that you like one of us but not the other. So there are going to be a few people who I'm sure are going to be happy about this, but I do think the vast majority are not going to be. And I can speak for two people that I know are not happy about this at all. Yeah. Yeah, it's a bummer. I'd be BSing you if I you've been thinking about this for a couple of weeks. Well, hell, should have warned us because I don't think either of us were aware of that then. You're an annoying road tripper. I would have you in the boot. In a boot, 20 minutes. You guys know what the boot is? Huh? For those of you born in the good old US of A, we have no culture here, Not true. We have Tom Cruise. We don't have a lot of culture, but we got a little. You know what I mean? We got the cult of Scientology and all of their fun. The boot is a term they use instead of trunk, right? Which doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. And so if that's the trunk and you call it the boot, what do you call the hood thing then? That would be the bonnet. Now you're just trying to be jerks. Let's be really honest. You want to be different, right? Oh, don't call it that. We'll call it a bonnet. Does it look like it's wearing a hat to you? What's the bonnet thing? Come on. Come clean. Tell me what it is. You drove from Boston to San Diego? That's a good drive. I've made that drive or very similar to it. I drove from Boston to everywhere you could go on the West Coast at some time or another. I used to not be such a good guy in my younger years. And that was a line of work I dabbled in. Not necessarily selling stuff, but getting stuff from one place to another. It's a long drive, though. Freebird is relatively new here. Okay, well, here's the recap, right? The 20-second recap. Reese and I have been very, very good friends for over a year. And after Reese got officially divorced, our relationship bloomed into something bigger than that. We had a show called Cults and Crims that we do together. It was a hell of a lot of fun. A lot of people really enjoyed that show. And we have a very cool chemistry that everybody picks up on. You can't kind of fake that stuff. And we really do have our ability to communicate is fun to watch. Everybody says that. You guys are so much fun, to watch communicate. But I guess I'm not very good, and I'm not being a wise ass. I'm not very good at it when it's not being filmed. And that's a problem. We definitely would do better when it was being filmed, and that's a problem. And again, I will. I'll take that one. Wow. Yeah, I can see that. If you can't sleep and you got people next to you that just go, oh, that would drive you nuts. If you got full blown insomnia and you're working on a couple of days with no sleep, and your friends come in and go, listen, I'm just gonna take a 15-minute one. Wake me up. And they're out in seconds. Yeah, I usually just want to punch them while they're sleeping. I'm kidding, right? Someone will make a short about that. I don't really want to hit anyone. Just kidding. Well, that you know of. I can think of one or two of them that I might want to say. I've seen it 100 times. Is Moose going to meet Squirrel? We're going to find out. I don't know. It's not my decision. I would very much like to take Moose. That's not my decision. I'm not going to muscle the cat out of here. If they think that it's in the best interest for the cat to no longer be here, then I will give it a fantastic home and spoil the snot out of him. Of that, I would promise. And as far as Squirrel has hung out with other animals in her life, and she's never, ever had a problem with them, even really big dogs. She's just, I don't know. She's never seemed particularly interested in them. Like she's bored. But I hope so. Moose, Squirrel, they got, Rocket J Squirrel and Bullwinkle Moose. Does make for it's a good peanut gallery, don't you think? Here I am, your rocket queen. Oh, yeah. Thank you, Deanna Downey. She says, Tommy, I love you both together or not. I appreciate the hell out of that. I really do. You know what? And I think the vast majority of you are going to do just that, right? Because what difference does it make? And there's going to be a percentage of you, right? Jackwagons who are going to go, I always hated her. I knew there was something wrong with her. Or he's such a scumbag. How could you go out with the dude? You knew he was a criminal. For God's sakes, he's been to prison. Because people who keep stuff in reserve, who just can't wait to say stuff like that, will usually wait until there's a breakup. So I'll say it one more time. If you think you're going to reach out to me to shit on her and I'm going to be excited about it, I'm going to block you. I'm going to treat you really bad before I block you. I'm going to say nasty stuff to you, and I'm going to make sure you're never seen here again. Right? I mean, what are we, 16? I think we can act like adults through this. But if we can't, I got that cool button, right? I don't really have a button, but I can tell the wrench people, and I love saying that. When someone has it coming, smack that fool with a wrench. Love saying that. I'm sorry, I do. I do. You'll crush my larynx, data girl. She's going to handle all my larynx crushing. Millie, you're the best. You're the best. Peace and love to everyone. Have a wonderful day. Trainee human, really love it when I catch you in here. I really do. It's an honor, and it always puts a smile on my face, man. Keep fighting the good fight, and I hope you're as proud of yourself as we are. I mean that. I don't throw that out lightly, but that's awesome. That's awesome. Thanks, Dee Dee. I hope that that's kind of how it comes across. Yeah. Yeah, Nicola E., it's hard to make everything work, even if you're not in the public eye. And I mean, I'm not here doing, woe is me, I'm Brad Pitt, and neither is she. But, most people who date don't have people out there going, I hate your girlfriend. She's a piece of shit. Let me tell you why, right? Or I hate your boyfriend. This is why he's a jerk off. That kind of stuff might be a little of that backstabbing kind of stuff that happens in the real world. Here, it's a freaking epidemic. It is an epidemic. Everybody likes to just go down that rabbit hole. I'll be honest. One of the things that I really dug about Reese is that she's. She will mention the fact that these people are out there, but you're not going to hear her, come up with all of the trash. And to her credit too, if you knew how bad some of these people have been to us, particularly to her, and when she found out that dude literally was a product of inbreeding, it was like jerking an e-brake. She's not said anything about this person. I don't think he comes around here anymore because we don't acknowledge the guy, but the next time you feel like really going off, if you got a troll and the guy's just a jerk or she's a jerk, you know what? Just do a little research and just find out who the person is. Because what you might find is that it's a horrifically sad person, right? And maybe there's a party of the, if you're a prayer, great, pray. Or if you're a person that just says, some positive vibes, could you think of anybody that would need it more? Honestly. And I'm only telling you the tip of the iceberg. I'm not trying to tell enough of this person's story to make it so that the world knows I'm talking about him. But no family at all. There's nothing left, right? Everybody that is left in this cat's family has disowned him. Didn't sound like he started off with the best of families, but it's just a really sad case. And yeah, he's in my thoughts and prayers. And he'll come on here and leave hateful stuff. But yeah, but it's hard under the best of circumstances. And this isn't the best of circumstances. It's never going to be. You know what I mean? It's just, honest to God, it's never going to be the best of circumstances. It gives a lot of people an opportunity to kind of weigh in. And some people are pulling for you and some people aren't, right? There are guys really, really dig her who would be a lot happier if I wasn't around, right? She's a beautiful woman. And if that's as far as it goes, I'm not mad at him. Now, if you're trying to engineer a trip to Bug Tussle so you can kick it, maybe that gets a little different, especially if the two of us were dating and we were, I definitely wouldn't want anything. And I still feel that way. If, people better be good to her. Thanks, Freebird. This is not a lot of fun. I'll be really honest. It's not. I don't, this isn't the conversation that I want to have live. It's not a conversation I want to have, period, to be honest with you. And I don't think that's not to say she wanted this. I don't think either of us wanted this. I think both of us are miserable about the fact that this happened, but it kind of gets down to the fundamental kind of thing. And that's about it. You came in late, Cindy B. You came in late. Well, that's what you get when you come in late. See, now you know that there's been a struggle, but you don't even know who the struggle is between. For all you know, right? It's Billy Joel and his new wife. What is she, about 19? I love Billy Joel, but for God's sake, man, you know what I mean? Like, you could marry someone in their 30s and you'd still be marrying somebody really young. But this dude is, I don't know. I'm disappointed in him. Your lovely daughter is 39 weeks pregnant. We're on the countdown phase. Well, that ought to be good for a, oh, you know what? I'm in the wrong house. I don't have the participation trophy. This is what happens when you split your time between two places. I know Quibs has got one. I just don't know where they are. The huge one. That's all right. Won't be long now. Congratulations. That's awesome. Really is. That's awesome. Johnny Scoville? Johnny says, yeah, don't pick on him. It's just, you know what? In fact, I'm not going to bring it up again either, because I don't want you guys trying to chase down who the person who is. And a lot of you probably know because he looks the part. I'm not being mean, but you know, you like fetal alcohol syndrome and some of the things that go along with that. This dude looks like there's not a lot of limbs coming off the family tree. And that turns out to be exactly what was happening. It's never the fault of the person that is the offspring. It's just a tragedy for them, breaks my heart. It really does. That shit's so hard. Candy's Life says, I only have the utmost respect for Reese, and no offense, Tommy, but that is not going to change just because of her relationship with you is over for now. At Lifeboat, sincere comment. If you think I want you to dislike Reese because the two of us are gone, then I don't want you here anymore. No shit. If your takeaway, and I'm not saying to you, I'm saying to anybody, if your takeaway from what I just said was I'm wanting you to side with one of us over the other, right? Then I have effed up so bad in the last 1 hour and 5 minutes that I should seriously consider finding a new job. No joke. Like I really blew that. I'll say it again. I'll slap the taste out of your mouth if you say something bad about this woman. I don't care for her any less today than I did yesterday. The realization has come through that unfortunately we cannot make this work, right? There are some fundamental differences that we cannot get by. That's where we're at. Not that again, that it's anybody's business, but that's what it comes to. There's a couple of things that come down to literally the basics, and sadly, there are some of them that we don't line up on. But that doesn't mean I'm going to let somebody say anything bad about her. Ever. Interesting, but I wouldn't be in the same room as somebody that would say something bad about her. You understand? I wouldn't. And I don't threaten people. Contrary to popular belief, I don't threaten people. And since this person is a hypothetical and I'm not, right? There's nobody to threat. They're a hypothetical. You wouldn't want to be the cat in the room with me. I promise. I'm not much for the disrespecting of women, especially ones that I have loved or continue to love. It's just it's low budget, you know. It's sad that there are still Cro-Magnon walking the planet and acting like that. You know, and people kind of give them a pass. Guess what? I don't have to. So I don't. I'm more than happy to slap a few people around for that. Thank you for being so raw with us. I love you both. Look after yourself, my friend. Reach out anytime. Sending you both so much love and support and prayers. Look after yourself. Thank you. Arwa, I'm going to try to do just that. I'm going to try to look out for myself and keep putting up content, keep doing what we're doing. I'll be really honest with you. As far as the hey, Miss Weedlepoo, as far as the boat goes, I'm really happy where the lifeboat is, man. I'm so stoked with where the lifeboat is. I really am. I love watching the growth spurts. And you know what? They don't come around often enough. Right? They don't. These things kind of come in streaks. And I'm not one of those guys who believes this is just going to keep happening. And I'm high-fiving and going, hey, in 120 days at this rate, I don't play any of those games because I've already done this thing a few times. Right. But now, you know, you sort of when it happens and you're older and you get into one of those things where we picked up 600 subs yesterday, 600 subs in a day. For us, that is a massive, right, growth spurt. It really is. It's a massive growth spurt and it feels fantastic. I'm guarding myself because I know that this thing goes in waves, and I hope to be smiling the same way and to be the same kind person when we park for a while. You guys may not remember this because it's more behind baseball than anything else, right? And unless you're just into that, you probably wouldn't be watching. But you may remember if you've been around long enough. I was Reese and I hit 20,000 on the same day, right? Exact same time. We were. I was in Albuquerque, New Mexico. I was somewhere in New Mexico, and I was at a chili festival with my brother, and we were doing it on the computer. And I said, "Man, we only need a couple," and she was very close. And everybody kind of came in at the same time, and it pushed us over the 20,000 mark. Then I literally did not move off of that for 6 months. Could not get it to go up. I got it to drop. It went below 20,000. In fact, it got all the way down to 19.6 or 18.6. Like we took a beating, and you can't be any more bummed out then, because the way that this works is sometimes, right? Sometimes you ride these things and there's a bunch of people. Did you just say I sound slurry? Slurry? Um, I don't know. I hope I'm all right. That's it's a little frustrating. I mean, frightening rather. It's um, I haven't slept since the last time I saw you. I'm not going to BS you. It was a pretty tough night. Didn't really do a whole lot of sleeping. Right, had a very very short. This has been a tough run. Um, I'm not slurry. If I am, I'm certainly not. I'm not on any medication that I don't take every day, but thanks for looking out. I do. I am glad that you care, whether you believe that or not. Stacy, what a kind thing to say. How can we help you and Reese at this time? Okay, this would be a good one, right? Reese does a show. Just tell her you love her, right? You love her, you got her back, and you're here for her. And no matter what happens, that's not going to change, right? That would be cool. I'd like to hear that. Right? I would dig hearing that. The truth of the matter is there are going to be people who put up with me, right? Because they love Reese. And since I was part of her life, they put up with me. But within 6 seconds of finding this out, they're going to go, that mother effing convict, and I will be gone. Is what it is. And there are people who put up with Reese because they dig me and have been around for a long time. I'm sure those people are going to be stoked. If I hear that you're stoked, that'll be the end of it, right? Just be classy. It's not that freaking tough, right? Be classy. It's get good at it. You'll thank me later, right? You ever heard anybody say, "Yeah, you know what? He's way too classy." I hate that. Yeah, you probably don't hear that too often. You know what? Always one of my favorite things. I actually say this all the time. I heard somebody say it to a friend of mine with cancer once. And I thought, wow, what a beautiful thing. He went up and said, I can't think of one intelligent thing to say, but if I can do anything to help you, please let me know. And I thought, that's a hell of a thing to say because nobody knows what to say. It's, and this isn't cancer, right? This isn't cancer. Everybody's alive. Things are good. I don't hate her. I hope she doesn't hate me. This just is one of those situations that sadly we're very different. And there are some things that we're just so different that unfortunately we don't seem to, we can't come up with a plan to get by it, and not for lack of effort. I promise you we wanted to. I promise you. Let's see here. Hey, Vixen. Hold on. Carol says late again. All right, that's it. We're not having it. Can we find a chalkboard? Maybe get her to write on it. You know what? I know you weren't being a jerk, right? If I sounded like I was being a jerk back to you, I guess it's how long I've been doing this, because that's going to be a short. By the end of the day, the short is going to be me going, do I sound loopy? You know what? They can blow me where the pamper sits. If you don't know that movie, then you missed that reference. But I'll be honest, I don't care. And there were times where maybe I care a little more because of some people that I love that I don't want to see hurt and things like that. But say what you want. They've been bull crapping about me for 3 years, right? The people who are going to believe it can go over with the less fortunate, right? And what does it say about the people following? I'm not being mean, but your leader is a person who every other word out of their mouth is an F-bomb and has a real tough upbringing. Maybe be kind to them, but don't encourage hate. That's never encouraging hate is a bad thing, right? Over religion real quick one more time. I don't care what you pray to. I don't care if you believe or you don't believe, but here we have a simple rule. If the things you're doing are moving you closer to love, right? You're doing all right. If the things that you're doing are moving you closer to hate, get your ass off my boat. Sorry. Don't have any desire to have people around here who are moving toward hate. Yeah. Does that sound cold-hearted? But Tommy, they need help. Good. Find it somewhere else. What we do here, right? I'm not trying to help haters. I'm not. Beat it. Beat it. I'm trying to help people that are good folk that need help. People that don't want to be junkies anymore, right? If you want to get sober and be an ass, I could point you in the direction of a couple of people, right? I mentioned one of them earlier. No apology necessary. I don't think you were calling me a drunk. I was just sort of laughing at the way it was worded. Again, probably not going to. If it can be said, I've already been accused. Tommy, no sides will be taken. You know what? I don't think there should be any sides, right? If you're, and I know you wouldn't. If you're someone that is going to decide to take a side in this, right? If that's you, I don't want you on my side. Straight up. You're a person who takes sides, take hers. Because it's messed up to take sides, right? Honestly. If I'm giving you enough information to take sides, I'm a piece of shit. For real. We love you both, and we are here for you, both of you. You need to do what is best for the both of you. We are family. That is all needs to be said. Yeah, it's all that needs to be said. I agree with you. It is. It is. And we are family. We've proven it for a very long period of time, have we not? What do I think about ADHD meds? Okay. ADHD meds work fantastic for people that need them, right? The rub on this is that the vast majority of people taking them don't need them. This is a very abused drug, and it's abused for stupid reasons, right? Well, I just take it because it really helps me study, or I just take it because, okay, you should take it if you have ADHD. If you're taking it as a study aid, that's drug abuse. May come as a shock to you. But if you're using a drug and you're not using it as it's written on the label, and you're not using it because you actually need this, you're doing it because you think it's going to help you. Got any idea what an effed up way that is to start going through life, by the way? No shocker, because they teach us it when we're kids. Think there's a reason that Red Bull's ads, right, with all the athletes they got and all of those people jumping and doing this, their ads are a cartoon guy, right, who develops wings and flies away from the guy that didn't have wings. Think they're, are they advertising that to 55 and 60-year-olds? Probably not, right? I think that we teach people from a very young age. Sobe, I think, is the name of the drink. You go in and there's a whole shelf of them, right? This one helps with energy. This one will help you relax. This one helps with your brain. Holy crap, what are we telling our kids? Brain's not working right? You need a drug. What? A little too stressed out? You need a drug. For real. Too relaxed? Let's pep you up. You need a drug. And then we get shocked when at 16, they want to experiment with everything. Why the hell wouldn't they? Right? They've already been trying to. Thank you, by the way, Marjan. Appreciate you. I think if you need ADHD meds, they're the greatest things in the world. The reason being, your brain, which is firing all over the place, and it's not in any kind of sequence. It's like a car with the pins out, right? The timing is just off. And if they can get that, if you need this, people say I was tweaking. In other words, you were looking at something and you couldn't stop. You were on that thing for hours. Okay, well, if you're so scattered that you can't keep a thought for 2 seconds, and the next thing you know, you're starting to tweak. Maybe not to the degree that we would, but all of a sudden that individual is focusing on something. Then do you know what that drug is? Huh? It's a mother scratching miracle. That's what it is. If a person cannot sit still, they cannot focus, they cannot study because they have ADHD that badly, it's horrific. And you give them a pill, and the next thing you know, they're sitting down doing their homework and going, what was the assignment for later today? I want to take some notes on this. And you got people going, who the hell is that? Right? What happened to the kid that used to sit here? I have seen that happen. I've also seen parents drug kids who should not have gotten the drugs. These kids didn't need it, right? And you could see what was happening to them. I think it's hard. Maybe that's the answer. It's hard because I want people that need it to have it. However, I feel like if your kid challenges the teacher in any way, right? In any way, today is Christopher Columbus Day. Christopher Columbus, sailed the ocean blue, and he discovered America. And when he got here, he found people living there. How's that work? Huh? If you discovered something, You can't discover something where someone already is, right? If that's possible, I could go discover the Bahamas tomorrow, but I can't do that, right? Because there are already people living there. Ask that question in first grade and see what happens to you, right? They send you off to the principal's office, right? If you argue, if the teacher says, no, that's just the way it is, and you're one of those inquisitive kids who go, no, what do you mean that's just the way it is? That's not a friggin' answer, man. Right? I need an answer on this. And then you go to pick your kid up and the teacher says, you know what? We're having a problem with Junior. I can't control him. I mean, there's just nothing I can do to control him. He's all over the place. He's disrupting everybody else in the class. Just be nice to yourself too. I will be. I'm always nice to myself. Am I not? When am I not nice to myself? I'm the Duke of nice. But you got a lot of people that are trying to drug kids that don't need it because it's easy. Right? It's a lot easier than, what's the other option? I don't know. Maybe you need to spend, and I'm not saying you, I'm saying the editorial you. But when people say, my son needs medication for ADHD, I don't know what to do. I'm at my rope's end. Sit down and play with him for 6 hours tomorrow. Spend 6 hours with your kid tomorrow trying to wear him out. Take him outside, throw a ball, right? Do stuff with your ADHD kid and watch what happens. You're going to find out real quick if he needs that medication. If he can't focus while you're giving him all of these fun activities to do that are bombarding his senses and giving him all kinds of reasons to focus. If he can't do that, maybe he needs that medication. And you know what? It doesn't make him a leper. It doesn't make him a drug addict. It doesn't make him a piece of crap, right? Oh, well, we get very, very excited if it happens to be, right, for say, I don't know, eczema. No, there's nothing wrong with that. He needs that. Or lupus. No, you got to have that. I mean, you got to have a drug for that. But if we start treating something and the drug can get someone else high, we're going to shit all over the person. That's just who we are. Person's on Valium. They don't need Valium. They don't need Valium. They just want to get drunk. They don't have anxiety. I've known him since they were 12. Yeah, he needs Valium. That's what we do. As a society, we do that all the time. All the time. And you're lying if you say you haven't done it. Ever gone to a party and looked over at a guy and gone, oh my God, that's his 5th drink. Why do you know that? Right? Because we're preoccupied with that crap. Sarah Bowman, you have always been just such a sweet person. Thank you. I really appreciate you. I really do. Hello, Panda. Need some extra prayers? Can we get some ones for her, please? Stacey Allen is digging on all the positive vibes. Well, that's awesome. How good does that sound? How long was your Drakkar Noir phase? I got news for you, Haas. I did not have a Drakkar Noir phase. I didn't. I did steal some from my brother who had a Drakkar Noir phase, which I think probably lasted him maybe 2 or 3 months. Johnny used to go through it. Like he had a thing about his olfactory senses are absolutely incredible. He never forgets a scent, but he had an incredible collection and he was always changing out from something to the next. But first person I ever saw had it was Johnny, and I stole some from him. In fact, I think I probably stole all of the stuff that I ended up liking from him. Acquadigio. I lifted a bottle of Acquadigio out of his room when I was a little kid because it smelled so damn good. Even as a kid, I was like, that's different. And yeah, I wahooed it. I can't get in trouble for that. Statutes of limitations is up on this, man. He's my brother, and the statutes of limitations is up. I stole it like 7 or 8 months ago. I'm kidding. It was a very long time ago. Very long time ago. I'm a gentleman? Yeah. Yeah, I get that all the time, Stacey. I'm kidding. I don't really get that all the time. As far as looking after myself, this is a tough time. I'm not going to lie to you. This is tough. And I struggle with sleep under the best of circumstances. This is something that has been happening in my life since I was about 25. I think the first time I really struggled with it was 25 to 30 was the worst. Absolutely the worst. What am I catching myself doing? Being bad to myself, talking badly about myself, tearing myself down, crapping on my girl, getting shit-faced. What is it I'm guarding? I'm not being a wise ass. I'm just kind of curious what it is you think I should be looking for. Iron Rabbit, good to see you. I mean, it may be all of the above. But if there's something that's jumping out, and then, let me know. I appreciate it. I always do my physical and mammogram. You know what? Please, people. You know what? It amazes me. For us, obviously, for guys, it's colonoscopies, and the number of guys that will say to me, "Oh man, you got any idea how uncomfortable that is?" I don't know. You should try radiation and chemo and tell me how you think that works out, right? People, if they have a test and you're not taking it, shame on you. I'm angry at you, right? They have a test. Please, please take that test. Panda Kelly says, if you love something, set it free. Well, that's probably a nice thing, isn't it? Natalie says, good morning. Late again. Good to see you in Bug Tussle. Why, thank you, Natalie. I appreciate you. Thanks, Naomi. I appreciate you. And I appreciate that. You can blame me and still stick around. I think that's fair. And you can blame me and leave. And I don't mean you, but what I don't want to happen, because this is the nature of the beast. What I don't want to happen is there to be a group of ladies that decide that this is my ex's fault and start crapping on her. No disrespect to you ladies, but when those things start happening, it becomes a feeding frenzy. It doesn't happen the same way with guys. And I'll tell you something right now, straight up. If what happened is something that I thought the world needed to hear about, right, then I would do it with her sitting next to me. And we've done shows where we come out and hash out whatever's going on. That doesn't need to happen in this. It doesn't. And again, I wasn't even going to do the whole show on this, but maybe it'll make it easier on my friend Quibsy. But what it comes down to is this. I was a criminal for a really long time. Criminals view everything in life through a slightly skewed lens, right? What a friend is, do you say that's my best friend in prison? It's not what that means. If somebody says that's my best friend on the street, right? It means two completely different things. Or on the street, if a person says, I will pay you that $9 on Tuesday at 2:00, right? Or maybe he won't. Yeah, means something different inside. Because if you say, I'm going to pay you Tuesday, right, at 2:00, and you don't at 2:15, it's going to be a very, very bad Tuesday for you. I promise. Seamus O'Grady. He's a loud little cruncher, isn't he? You can hear him all the way over from here. I feel the same exact way when someone accuses me of liking disco. Look, bro, the world knows you're into disco. And you know something? Here's the deal, man. No one's even mocking disco anymore, right? No one's even mocking disco anymore. You don't even have to hide it anymore, dude. You're good. Freebird, I appreciate you. Drayton says, you each have a heck of a lot to deal with. Reese, learning about and dealing with a whole new planet. You guys got a lot to deal with. Yeah. This is a new planet for me too. For real. It's a new planet for me too. I've been back into society for less than 4 years. She's been back into society for 2. And we lived in very, very different kinds of worlds. She was in a very, very a control group and a cult that was super domineering in every single thing that she did. And if something bothered her, I mean, there's no recourse. And I lived in a world where if a guy pissed you off, you beat him up. And you could do it. You could go ask permission. This guy's really pissing me off, man. Can you give me a one-on-one? And there's a guy that could order that dude to go in a cell and fight you. Sounds bizarre and it sounds barbaric and all that. And I tell you what, man, it actually runs pretty well. I know that sounds awful, but it does. Yeah, it's sad. Sarah, I appreciate that. You're very kind. I'd like to believe that that's the truth, but you know what? This is hard. I don't know how to say this because I'm not trying to come off as, yeah, I don't have any idea how to say this. Maybe I just won't do it. It does suck. It absolutely sucks. Right. And you know what? There are parts of this that if I told you the whole story, there's parts of this that I was a dick through. Probably not intentionally, right? But I don't deal with hurt very well. I don't throw things at people, but I withdraw, and it causes problems. I definitely There are parts of this that I will take all blame on. I will. There are parts of this I will take all blame on, and there are parts of this that I'm sorry, I will take no blame on it. And you know what? She feels the same way. There are parts of this that I'm sure she would say, I had some fault in this. And there are parts that she'd say, but I had no fault in that. And therein lies the rub, right? Because if I said, I didn't say, no, I'm not. If I was wide open and I said, you can blame me for all of it, and she said, no, you can blame me for all of it, we'd probably be all right. I don't know that that's how you build a relationship, but some people do. Cali Blue, I got here yesterday and didn't have an end in sight as far as leaving. I assure you it wasn't the distance thing because, as it is, I've been coming out for about 5 weeks at a time and then going back. So it's a long distance relationship, but not in the normal sense of the word. If that's a thing, and it could be, that we couldn't figure that out between the two of us, but that doesn't necessarily mean sometimes it's stuff that, underneath. Why, thank you, Candy's Life. I appreciate that. And I can say this is amazing. This isn't the kind of thing that I could say anywhere else, right? But I can say this here on the Lifeboat. No one's going to pick sides. You're not. Because to do that, one of you would have to say, you know what? I think Reese was wrong, or I think Reese is being you'll not finish that sentence. I promise. Right. And if you want to say I'm a dick, you better just do it nicely. Right. Don't use foul language and have a reason to back it up. Right? This is my fault. I'm not going to, I don't want you to delete it for that. If you can articulate why you really think this is, I'm willing to listen to it. I'm a big boy. Right. I'm pretty good at owning the things that I do that are wrong, but I'm, Tommy, sometimes it's not about who was right or wrong. It's just called life. Sometimes that's the truth. Not this time. Honestly, the details in all of this is one of those things. And again, this is one of those things where absolutely, if you asked 50 people, they would probably be split. I don't know if it would be right down the middle, but it's one of those situations where I promise you, you kind of have to come down on a side in this. And if that's the case, then someone's feelings are hurt, which means, but I understand what you're saying. I wish it was that way all the time. Thank you, Eileen. I will probably continue to work on it. Yeah, right. Whatever you're working through, work through it. I think it was Winston Churchill, right? He said, if you're going through hell, keep going. Right? Last thing in the world you want to do is jerk the e-brake when you're in the middle of hell, right? If you're going through that crap, put your foot on the thin pedal, press it all the way to the floor, and hold on. So I am going to call this a day, people. And then I'm going to go outside and I'm going to do a little dirt bike riding, maybe take the dirt bike out. That wears you out. Maybe I will be able to get some sleep. This would be a very good thing if I could possibly get some sleep this evening. And I love all of you. As far as this is one of those things that people would pick sides on. If we believed it wasn't, we would come on, right? Maybe on Cults or one of the other ones and tell you the whole story. Say, here's what happened. This was this person's view. This is what that person's view was. And here's why. But you know what would happen? Some of you would decide that that person's wrong. They screwed this up. I hate them. For real. It's amazing how fast that can happen. So maybe that will happen. I can't make predictions, but I can predict this. You ain't going to hear about it from me. And when I say between now and then, reach out and try to save somebody, I'm not bringing this up again. I'm not. I did this out of respect to the crew. right? I promise. But I'm not talking about this out of respect for Quibsy, right? And for her family. And with all due respect, I love you guys and I share with you. I'm in love with her. It's a completely different thing. And no matter how it ends up, I'm not going to be a dick. If very often people decide that, friends are hard to be if you've been in a relationship, and you can't hate someone for that. You know what I mean? But if this is one of those things where, this is going to damage a friendship, it's not going to be on my end. I would really love she's my best friend. She really is. She's my best friend. There ain't no good guys. There ain't no bad guys. There's only you and me, and we just something like that. We don't get along. We just disagree. Great song. Great song. Thank you, Marissa. It's a kind thing to say. I'll tell you what, I think a lot of times you guys give me more credit than I deserve. And what I mean by that is I read a lot of books, and when I'm not really super emotionally involved, you can hear me when I talk about this. It's different than when I talk about, you ask me things about your life and I spit it out like this because the emotional part of my brain goes to sleep. As much as I might feel for you guys or whatever, it ain't the same thing. You follow me? It ain't the same thing. I'm not feeling it like it is when it's me. That is so fantastic. I love Reese. I love Tommy. I love cats. This has been a public service announcement. You might also want to throw in state law. That one always goes good too. I love Reese. I love Tommy. I love cats. State law. This has been a public service announcement brought to you by the dulcet tones of Tommy Scoville. Loving someone enough to step away is one of the greatest gifts you can give someone. It allows for growth, and you never know where that can lead. Yeah, you're right. You're right. And sometimes it leads to the most beautiful things in the world. And sometimes you have to look at that from 300 yards away because that person is no longer close enough for you to be there. And you know what? That sucks balls, but it is part of the game, isn't it? Sadly, it is. Cup of coffee. Don't do that. Don't do that. Seriously, don't do that. That's not. There's no reason for any of that. Flick Fox, I have thought the same thing. I have absolutely thought that before. When people, if you love something, set it free, right? I understand what they're saying, but here's the thing: if what you love, right, you're holding on to that tight, right, that you need to set it free. What the hell's wrong with you? I mean, for real, that just sounds frightening to me. It sounds like something that I don't know, Dahmer should be. Hey, buddy, look at you little cutie. This is a really good-looking cat. Look at this guy. And I'll tell you something else. I hate to disagree with Quibsy. He's not slow. He's a kitten. And there's a lot that goes on in a house. This is my opinion, right? I'm just telling you my opinion, but he's pretty sharp. He plays with the other cats, and he's funny as hell to watch. He's got the most beautiful face, and he is so kind. I mean, he's kind to a fault. Although I'll tell you something, Moose has been very nice to me since I got back. I think that he missed me. I'm not going to lie to you. Spanky very badly wants Moose. He's been vocal as hell about that. He really, really has. You may want to call one of. Yeah, you're right. And I don't know why I didn't think of that. How come the rest of you didn't point this out to me? What are you people, slow? I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be a wise ass. I have no idea what that means. If you clean it up so that I understand, I'll put it back up there, though. Please. Chase the Heat's usually good for good advice. She's been giving it to me for a really long time. It's like holding snow. I've always thought it's like holding sand. You know what I mean? You ever try to grab sand really tight and it just falls right through you? If you hold it really kind of loose, you can actually hold it for a really long time, but it requires some touch. The touch of a velvet hand like the lizard on a window pane. Holly C., good to see you. I love you too. I'm so glad you're here. Sole confession of his life, which he ate and donated to the National Trust. I need a fix because I'm going down. Anybody remember the song? Great song. Carol Barnhart. So am I. I'm sure she is as well. None of us are happy about this. It's just a realization, unfortunately, that as much as you try, sometimes the base, right? One person is a criminal doing everything he can to stay sober and help other people stay sober. And at the same time, I'm going through some real serious brain issues with this, with the cerebral infarction and the cognitive decline and all those things that are going on. And then we got quibs, and you take that thing that says the biggest stress factors in your life, right? When's the last time you moved, right? When have you had a divorce? Name the top 5 things that will stress you out. And Quibsy had all of them, every single one of them. Family members passing, family members sick. I mean, a recipe for a shit show, and has smiled and been a hell of a lot of fun through all of it. But it's still somewhere taking a toll. And, and we gave it hell. We went out there and got her out of there. And I'm going to tell you something. I believed that day, the end of that day when we had gotten through all of that time out there and got her into the truck, I remember thinking to myself, if we could get through this, then we could get through anything on earth, literally anything. And it sounded really good. Cali Blue says, y'all will probably make up. Sadly, we won't. But I dig her, and I really do. And I think she's one of the most talented people I've ever seen on YouTube. I'm not trying to get laid. I'm just telling you the gospel truth. I think she's absolutely incredible. She doesn't realize it, but she's incredible. The things that she does, and she does it out of instinct, right? It's not like she's been taught any of this. She never had an instructor that sort of brought her along through the whole speaking thing. She's just gifted. Like she's got a God-given gift. You may want to call one of your cats Hot Pepper. Put them on the Scoville scale. I almost called my gerbil 50 cents. Listen, if you have a gerbil, there's only one name you could call it. People in the chat, could you please help me out? If you had a gerbil, what would you name it? Please. This one is such a sitter. How many people have great rumors made up about them and a gerbil? You can go your own way. Go your own way. You can call it another lonely day. Wait, what happened? Kestrel, what are you asking me? I'm not sure what you're asking me. You just came in? Kestrel, you just got here? I thought we already went over this. Wow. I'm going to wrap this up then because we're at the very end of it. Kestrel, what happened is after an awful lot of effort and an awful lot of time, we've come to the conclusion, Reese and myself, that there are some fundamental differences in our hardwiring that is making it, that are making us incompatible for a long-term thing. And we could hang out and enjoy each other and just sort of party and have fun and do that kind of thing. And by party, I mean, that kind of stuff. And even the suggestion of that, I said, we could kind of always go that route. And that was not something that she wanted to entertain the idea of. This is, and I will respect how she views this, but she views this a little different. And I'm not going to tell you stuff that's her business. That's her business. What I have said today, that's very broad stuff. And I can talk about my end of it, but I'm not going to do that to her. And that's all I got to say about that. Yeah, you have Tom Cruise. Come on, everybody loves Tom Cruise. He's the gift that keeps on giving, right? I mean, how do you not love a guy? It's almost like you can't believe, right, that he's real. Like he's a caricature of himself. Us Brits invented the English language. Hold your horses now. Oh, wait a sec. So you're a Brit? Oh, well, then I'll give you a pass. So when you were asking me and making it sound like I was loopy, it wasn't. If you were an American, I would have had to take that a little differently. But I appreciate that then. San Diego, named after a lot of people don't know this. It was founded in the 16? Help me with the 16 something by German missionaries. They named it San Diego, which is loosely translated to whale's vagina. Surprised you didn't know that. At which point, most people tell me, no, that's Saint Diego, I think. And of course, I say, we'll agree to disagree. Great movie. Come on. Great movie. Kestrel says the friendship is the important thing. I really hope that we're able to remain friends and good ones. I pray for that. And I really hope that happens. I'm going to do my part. I promise you. You will not be able to blame me if that doesn't go well, because I'm certainly going to try. She means a lot to me. She really does. And, if somebody else were to treat her poorly, I would still have to show up and crush his larynx. Cat in a basket. You know what? We need a cat in a basket. I'm trying to see if there's any in here. Moosey. Did I hear him? Sometimes it's hard to tell with moose. Ooh, there you are. There's one running around. Hey, Moosey. Yeah, we're gonna get Big Bo instead. Bo, the dog that has FOMO more than any other animal on planet Earth. He's a good boy, though. Is Colts and Crims over? We have not discussed what we will do with Colts and Crims. I can't see it being over. I think we will do something. Miss Weedy Poo, I hate the way that sounds. What we have decided, I'm sorry, is that there are some very fundamental differences, which unfortunately are hardwired into us because of how we were raised. Things that if it was me and 9 of my friends who were raised my way, and I brought something up, all 9 of them would go, yeah, of course. Right? Of course. But if the same question was asked to 9 people that were second-gen Scientologists, not only would they go, no, they would go, what are you talking about, you evil? There are some things that are just, we really are polar opposites on. And these are not things like, I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan and you like the Giants. These are some things that are baked into the very essence of who we are. And if that's the case, and the person that you're with goes, I don't like that. Like that's really a hard thing for me. And it might be a deal breaker. And then, what do you do? I have got to the point in my life where I don't say to somebody, what do you mean it's a deal breaker? Like, how could you be? You set a boundary and I'm going to crap on you for it? Huh? I got news for you. If somebody says, please, I don't want to do this anymore, and they set a boundary and you continue to push them, listen very carefully. You're a scumbag. You hear me? If somebody sets a boundary and says, please, they're saying that because they know they're going to lose it if you keep pushing them. They know the makeup of their dome, and they're saying to you kindly, hey, please, I don't want this to happen. I've told you guys before, there's a person out there that shops around an audio that I left for them that was pretty ugly. And they'll shop it around to whoever will listen to it. You've probably heard it. But if they ever showed you the text messages, the 6 text messages before that, I said, I don't want to do this, please. Right? You're threatening my serenity. Like the part of my brain that doesn't deal well with this, I'm struggling really hard. So could you do me a favor? Right? And could we stop talking about this? And the response was, absolutely. Just as soon as you effing answer my questions. And my girlfriend, right, at the time, Quibs, actually reached out to this person and said, what are you doing? They literally, Tommy literally just set a boundary and you're blowing past it. Well, I guess the plan was to keep doing that until I freaked out and left an ugly message so she could play it for the world. Let me tell you how much I give a crap about that. For real. There's been some things, that where I go, I don't want to do this sometimes because of my maid. I kind of think I wouldn't do this maybe the same way that I might because I don't want to embarrass my girl or I don't want her to be associated or whatever. I'll tell you something. I'm going to have a hell of a lot more fun calling what it is. I am, because I'm going to worry a little bit less. You may want to call one of. I may want to call one of. You may want to call one of the what? Help me out. Help me out on this one. Do 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 do. Hey kids, Kestrel, you were, and I'll tell you something. There was a time, people. There was a time, I'll just keep it real. There was a time when the two of us got very early on in our relationship. She was feeling very upset, and she came on and said, you know what, John, Tommy really hurt me. This really hurt. And none of you heard the story. None of you. But I lost 350 subscribers that day. 350 subscribers. So I'm telling you the truth about what happened, right? If you need more of the truth, then you can talk to my friend Reese Quibell, and if she wants to tell you more, she can. You want to judge me for how this went? It's the unsubscribe button. And with all due respect, smack it if you got a problem with me. For real. This is we're not having problems because I beat her. We're not having problems because she cheated on me, right? These are things that have nothing to do with anything that would be fun and salacious. These are two people that one grew up a criminal and one grew up in a cult. And if you don't think that stacks the deck a little against you before you get started, it does. It really does. And on top of that, there's just certain things that can't be denied. I'm not being a dick. I'm keeping it real. Top 5 smartest people I've ever met in my life, Reese is one of them. Guaranteed. She might be top 3. One of the sharpest people I've ever met. And that's a problem if you think you're stupid. And I try every day that I'm with this girl, and I always will, to try to make her understand, right? Just how intelligent she is. But you have to understand that for the longest time, they've been telling her that she wasn't. They've been telling her she's less than. They've been telling her she's less than this and less than that, and doing everything they can to F this person up. I'm not going to be a part of that. I'm not. I care quite a bit for her. That's stupid. I love her. I really do. A lot. So I'm not going to be bad mouthing her. And you know what? If there has to be a winner and a loser in this, you need some help. Do some journaling. Get yourself a freaking notebook and start writing about that. For real. Because if two people find themselves less than compatible, especially people who obviously care deeply for one another, if in your head you think, you know what this person needs is for me to tell them which one is at fault, then you're a jackwagon of epic proportion. And you need to start literally taking yourself apart down to your base, like the I-beam and nothing friggin' else on it, and then rebuild yourself back up. For real. Because if you watch two people hurting and go, oh yeah, it's his fault, I guarantee it, then you're a dick, right? And there's just no reason for that. We expect better. Sometimes things just can't work out, even if both are great people. Sorry for this. Yeah. Gary, you're right. You're absolutely right. And if you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball. And I'll tell you something. You know, I've had some people say some really weird stuff. Somebody that caught wind of this or thought they did reached out to me and said, I think it was pretty mean of you for you to fly down there to do this. You think I flew down here with the intent of doing this? Get a tack hammer and smack yourself in the head with it a couple of times. Seriously, because you don't have enough brain pan to tie shoes. Nobody does this. You think I'm rich? Huh? And I'm old. Well, what I wanted to do was spend 2 frigging days in an airport to come down here and hurt her. Yeah, I'm sorry. Seriously, if your head went there, grab that tack hammer. Some things just can't work out, no matter how great the people are. Sad, yeah, right? But you know something? Neither of us are dead, right? I promise you, neither of us are dead. We're doing great. Yeah, see, Candy said, I've never gotten the vibe that you wanted me or anyone to ever disrespect Reese. Yeah, no, I don't know. I wasn't even commenting about something you said. No, Candy. I wasn't talking about something you said at all. Totally different. Totally, but thank you for the apology. It just didn't have anything to do with you. I was talking about a completely different comment. But it's the nature of the beast, though, isn't it? Huh? It's the nature of the beast. Sadly, it is. You know, if you care about even one dog in the fight, you tend to look at it through a different lens. And if you like both of them, it's hard. And human nature goes, all right, tell me the story. Let's figure out who screwed this up. Doesn't make you a bad person, right? But it is human nature. So I'm not mad at anybody. I really am not. I'm sad, you know. I'm sad that this isn't I'm sad that this is going down the way that it is. But that's kind of how it goes. And you know what? Johnny Scoville's right. I'm doing everything I can, and especially in the beginning with the person that said I sounded, I don't remember what the first word was, because I know that individual and it wasn't an issue. Now, when you get people that just run with it, just go ahead and write you think I'm shit faced, because it'll make it a lot easier for the wrenches to get rid of you. Seriously. And if this is what comes across to you as somebody that's been drinking, don't go into my line of work. For real. God help us. And I'm not talking to you, Candy. Trust me. So everybody relax. Recent subscriber, sure. Not sure what is going on, but wishing you all the best and glad I found your channel. All the best, mate. Tommy, here's the deal. By the way, I say that a lot. Here's the deal. You come back tonight. This is going to be the last time I talk about this, right here. And that's out of respect, right? For Reese, not the other way around, but out of respect for Reese. I will say that this is the last time I'm going to talk about this. Is what it is, right? So I'm going to be back tonight. Let's see what I can do to come back maybe in a more chipper mood, right? I'm going to be working on this. I'm sure everyone involved is, you know. So God bless all of you. I appreciate your kindness as always. When we come back for the next one, it's not going to be a heavy subject matter. I promise it's not. But and if you're new to this and it seems odd, let me explain something. From Jump Street, from the day that I started this channel, I have let people into a part of my life and parts of my life that other content creators do not, right? I feel weird if I don't. So I will let you in as far as I feel comfortable. The girl that I have spent the last almost year with, who I deeply love, the two of us have come to the conclusion that we are probably going to have to not continue romantically. And it was not a particularly fun day for either of us. And this is about the extent of what I intend to say. It is completely up to her if she wants to tell you whatever she wants to tell you. And you know what? It's crazy because people get these mindsets of, well, what if she says she can nail me to a tree and I'm not going to say anything back? The world that we live in is effed up. And this, what we do here, I don't think she's going to do any such thing. Stop that, Bo. You know better. I don't think she's going to do any such thing. Seriously, she's classier than that. But if by some chance she does, I'll give you my pat answer right now. I love Reese. I did. I still do. I always will. I hope that, and I hope we can be friends. I really do, because she means an awful lot to me. She really does. All right, people. I'm going to be back tonight, and you know what? There's going to be some shits and there's going to be some giggles. I really apologize for my language today. I normally don't curse this much. Last night was a bitch. I didn't get a whole lot of sleep. It was just kind of the way it went down, and it does mess with you. Boy, you look fantastic in green. Thank you so much for the support. Hey, L Train. Much love to all of you, and I will keep it real, people. I'm not pissed off that people come out and say things that they say. Those are all legit. You can say things. You can even challenge things. You can't be mean. Mean people suck. Freedom of speech does not happen on my front porch. You can come to my house, into my living room, and have any free speech you want. And if I bust you in the mouth, it's because you said something you shouldn't have said in my house, right? I can't do that to you here, but I can have somebody throw a wrench at you, and I'm quick to do it. Yeah, a little less if you're picking on me than if you're picking on someone else, but I got the best wrenches in the business. Believe that. Jason P., thank you, my brother. Sarah says, I am sorry this is happening, but it is better to find out the issue now than later. You have your friendship, and that is what matters. Well, I certainly hope that we do, right? Keep it real. Sometimes these kind of things don't last. Friendships don't last through that. And you know what? If one of the people says, I love you, but I sure as hell can't be a friend with you, do we hate them? This is an odd thing because people's feelings, right? We have a way of accidentally invalidating things that people say or think. I don't know what the reaction is going to be, right? I can't predict any of that stuff. But no matter what the hell, she decides to do, I'm going to love her and support her one way or the other. I look like I'm fatigued. I should look like I'm fatigued. I haven't slept in a couple of days. If the other option is that I'm wasted, have a good time with that. Honestly, I stopped. I don't even. Honestly, I stopped answering to that one about week 4. Right? I've said this a million times. Right? You want to get saucy? You pay for the piss test. Right? Send it. I'll do it. I'll do it with you on a Skype. Right? You could do it. I'm not going to do it for the whole crowd, but you want to pay for that? Knock yourself out. I'll tell you in advance the things I take. Everybody knows. But I got news for you. I don't stay sober for any of you. With all due respect, I don't. And if you're staying sober for me, you're going to fail. Promise. In the beginning, you can get sober for your kid. In fact, you probably will have to, because in the beginning, you're going to hate yourself. And it's hard to get sober for somebody you hate. And if you are full-blown degenerate, right? Drug addict, alcoholic, whatever, pick your poison. But if you're full there, if you're all the way to the finish line, you waved bye-bye to love and respect of yourself a long time ago. So very often you kind of have to find somebody that, yeah, I do love my kid, right? My kid's never done anything wrong. Maybe I could get sober for my kid. In the beginning, when I made a list of why I wanted to get sober, my freaking name wasn't on it. It wasn't. I was not a fan of me. That's the hardest thing to do, people. I promise. To become someone who loves themselves after being as screwed up on some of the drugs and stuff that we've done. Let me tell you something. That's not an easy thing to do. It's not. And I still struggle with it. Just being really honest, I struggle with it hard. Probably the toughest thing for me in general is trying to, I don't know what the right way to put it is. I'm not very good at cutting myself slack for some of the things that I've done. Or I'm not very good at, I don't know. I'm not very good at, I don't even know how to word this. Candy's Life says, I won't unless Tommy asks me to. Well, hell, what is that? That just sounds kind of ominous as hell, doesn't it? What is that all about? Okay, well, look. Comment. I am sorry this is happening, but it is better to find out the issue now. Yeah, okay. I agree with that. I agree with that 100%. Agree with that 100%. Looks like fatigue to you. Well, I'm struggling really hard with sleep. I wish that fatigue was what was the problem with the relationship. It's certainly probably why I look why I look a little tired. Now, what my son said yesterday is making even more sense to you right now. Good. I don't have any idea what my son said to you yesterday, but I got quite a bit of faith in him, so it doesn't much matter to me. And I'm not going to ask anybody to do anything, right? No one's picking sides. No one's doing any of those things. I'll tell you what I will ask you to do. I absolutely will ask you to do this, right? Maybe we could be a little bit kinder to one another. Huh? For real. This is going to be one of those things that pisses some people off, especially because we could lie about it. I mean, right now we're on the boat, but we started out with two very distinctive audiences, me and my friend Reese. And Reese's audience didn't like me much, and my audience didn't seem like her much. And over time, there's been a lot that evolved, right? And we really have sort of become more of one audience. But if there's a hangover from any of that, if there's those people that, that now feel like they can go, yeah, I never liked her, you may want to do that one privately where no one can hear it. And I'm only repeating that because I know a lot of people came in late. But if you decide to tell me how much you really never liked her, we probably won't see each other again. You guys are going to blow me away with how classy we're going to be, right? We're going to be classy. And do you know why? Huh? Because we don't get a lot of credit for that. We get credit for being dirtbags. We get credit for being like the lowest of the low. And sucks, right? So maybe we could step up and just say, you know what, on this one, I'm just going to be kind. I am really going to be kind. But is what it is. Is what it is. I don't get slurry from the head injury. I understand why you were asking, especially if you've got some of the same. A lot of people get slurry. I lose the ability. I can't link things together, right? If you can get me to the info dump, if you can get me close enough to my wheelhouse, like let's say we're talking about fent, right? And fent being smuggled across the border or whatever. I got so much in me that if you can just sort of tip it over, then I will info dump all that. And it's absolutely nope. 7 weeks sober. That's my man. See the rest of this? That's the stuff that matters, people. That's why we do it, man. I literally lived a total lie because Adderall did all my functionalities. Adderall for people who need Adderall is a miracle. Adderall for people who don't need Adderall is speed. Church it up any way you want it. There you go. That's it. Right? You either need it and it's a medication or you're just buying speed. And I'm not a doctor and I'm not saying anything that should be used, but you know what? If I'm buying speed, I'm not getting that kind. For real. If you're just looking for speed, I promise you there's better bang for the buck than going that route. However, really popular in college, right? Because everybody saw that movie. What's it called? Limitless. You know how many assholes, I'm sorry, have written to me and said, you know that's about Adderall, right? No, it's not. I mean, that sounds good. I guess, I don't know. No, it's not about Adderall, but that's funny. I like the premise. I assure you it's not. All right, people. Now I really am leaving. You know what kept me here, don't you? It's the damn candy corn. I was way behind on my chat last night. Well, that would make sense. I'm usually way behind. Wow, man. Here's the thing. This is all freezing up anyway, so I'm just going to make this easy. I am the Admiral. I intend to be back tomorrow. I'm really hoping that I'm going to see all of you here. Between now and then, you know what you're going to do? You're going to hopefully reach out and try to save somebody. but I don't much care as long as you're kind to one another. Yogi Bear is a smack freak. You know what? I've been saying this my whole life. Not too many people catch this, but listen to him, dude. Yogi is smarter than the average bear. He's going to sleep till noon, right? But before it's dark, he's going to steal every picnic basket in Jellystone Park. That's a stone cold junkie. He sleeps till noon, and the first thing he does when he gets up is start stealing. And if you try to come at him, like even for a half a second, like maybe you've got, morals, right? Little guy goes up there and goes, "Don't take that picnic basket, Yogi," and he just rolls right into it, doesn't he? If we don't, somebody else will, boo-boo. And I'm telling you, that is a junkie mentality, right? Yeah, we may as well steal it. If we don't, the next guy's going to boo-boo. Look it up. I think he had a drug problem. Adios, everybody. I'm Tommy. I'll see you on the next one. Calhoun, thanks for all you do. I love all of you. Do me a favor and be nice to everybody, right? And if you're mean to people, especially the ones I like, we're not going to be friends. Have a great day.